Hey guys, in this video we'll be using Process Hacker to analyze this Trojan that I've downloaded from Malware Bazaar. So let's start off with opening up this malware and see how Process Hacker will identify so that we can analyze it. Now that our malware has been executed, let's go to the network section to see what sort of action this malware is trying to do in terms of network communication. As you can see here, it was trying to connect to this IP address, which has .eu at last, showing that it was trying to connect to a Europe region. So first I will be using tracer route and who is lookup of function that are in Process Hacker. So in my analysis of the network activity, I noted that it was sending a packet to an external IP address with the range of 1.41.0 to 1.41.255. Intrigued by the destination, I conduct this whois lookup to learn more about this IP range. So from the result indicated that the IP range is managed by the RIPE Network Coordination Center, which oversees IP allocation in Europe. So like the Middle East and parts of Central Asia. This was a significant find, understanding that this IP range is associated with the RIPE NCC suggested to me that the command and control servers, or perhaps the data collection servers utilized by the malware, could be based in these regions. So by defining and confirming that these IP addresses are linked to the malware activities, I would recommend specific network filters or firewall rules for our incident management team to block traffic to and from these addresses, effectively cutting off the malware ability to communicate with its handlers. In terms of the network behavior, the traceroute provides a detailed path that the packets travel, showing each network hop from my computer to the target destination. So as you can see, first it was starting from our local network, and the packet moved through several routers, crossing different networks until they reach the server. So for instance, like the early hops within the trace route were within local and regional, like ISP. Notably, the packet transitioned through network in Australia, evidenced by this domain, which is optusnet.com.au, before continuing through other international nodes. Several hops showed request timeouts, which isn't unusual, but this can occur due to routers along the path choosing not to prioritize ICMP traffic used by traceroute commands, or due to firewall designed to not respond to such probes. To confirm my findings, I will be using Process Hacker send-to function to Jotty sandbox and upload this malware to see whether it's a Trojan or what. Depends on the result that is scanned. So the scan results has shown here were clear that many antivirus programs detected this executable as Trojan. This confirmed my suspicion and validated the malware dangerous capabilities. Sorry for missing out on some details in my last discussion about using traceroute and whois looked up to analyze network traffic for that Trojan. So I want to share about our findings from the dynamic analysis with Process Hacker, particularly about the subprocesses involved with that executable Trojan. So when examining that file with our Process Hacker, I discovered that it doesn't operate alone. It launches two subprocesses that look innocent but are likely part of its malicious activities. The first subprocess is OneDrive standalone updater.exe. Under normal circumstances, this would be a legitimate software component. However, in this case, it's spawned by the Trojan, which is a big red flag, because this OneDrive standalone.exe subprocess goes on to create another process named Microsoft.SharePoint.exe. Both subprocesses were caught trying to connect to external servers over HTTPS, which is often used for secure communication. Specifically, I think that this Microsoft SharePoint was seen connecting to an IP address, which is started with 20.189.173.9, and OneDrive standalone updater.exe connected to 52.113.194.132 IP address. These connections are suspicious. Why? Because they use like HTTPS to possibly hide what the malware is actually sending or receiving. This could include stealing data from the infected computer or receiving the further malicious instruction from their main hacker. The naming of the sub-processes after a well-known Microsoft application is a clever trick. It's likely an attempt to trick users and basic security tools into thinking these processes are safe, which allows the Trojan to operate under the radar. I think for our incident management team, we need to closely monitor and possibly intercept this network traffic. This will help us understand exactly what data is being exchanged and better prepare us to handle these kinds of threats. Overall, upon this analysis, I see that this Trojan is sophisticated malware that tries to hide its activities by pretending to be legitimate software like Microsoft application. And in our analysis using Process Hacker, we found that the Trojan creates sub-processes like OneDrive standalone and Microsoft SharePoint. So these processes are involved in risky network activities, such as connecting to external server, likely for malicious purposes, like stealing data or receiving harmful commands. So therefore, in a real world scenarios, tools like Process Hacker are essential for incident management team dealing with advanced malware that can disguise itself. Being able to quickly spot and act on unusual activities using like the terminatory action in the system can significantly cut down the time to manage threats. Um, it also provide detailed data about process such as their source, how much memory they use, and their interaction with other system components. This is invaluable for figuring out how deep a malware infection goes and help in planning on how to prevent future attacks. And lastly, the tool allows the team to see which external connection each process is making. These features like help the team to spot the suspicious activities of the Trojan, showing how potentially harmful data transfers are occurring in our system.